Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's Midweek Minute. It is Wednesday, August 19th. I had to check my watch to see what date it is because I always forget. Hope you are all doing great. It is an absolutely perfect day outside today. I'm really enjoying the cooler weather. I've been helping out a lot with Peter's soccer team, helping out coach a little bit and just be there and help out. And it feels like all summer it's been 900,000 degrees outside, and this past week it felt really nice. So I'm excited for a little bit cooler weather outside. So hopefully you're able to do some gardening, do some yard work, spend some time outside. Maybe you're camping this week, whatever you're doing. Hopefully you're doing some stuff outside this week. But a few things to go over today for the Midweek Minute. The first is just thankfulness for this past Sunday. It was a really cool Sunday. We welcomed, I should say, some new members into the church. The Ruhlman family, the Janoka family, and Andy Rivera are all now members of our church. And so we got to hear a little bit from them and make vows on their behalf, saying that we're going to pray for them and care for them and participate in their discipleship process as their church family. And so maybe you were here and were able to see that second service or watched online or followed on in a different way. But I'd really just encourage you to reach out to these folks. If you need their contact info, call the church and we'll give you that. But just to, welcome them to the church and maybe even invite them over. It'd be cool to get to know them. I know they're at various levels of attendance here at Trinity. The Ruhlmans have been here a while. Andy's been here for a couple of years. The Janokas have been here for about 6 months. And so it's cool to see that there's different stages in church participation. Now, as God laid on their heart the desire to really be committed here at Trinity. And so if you could reach out to them, that'd be great. A couple other families that we can be reaching out to, just going through a rough time this week. We have two families in the church who had experienced losses. The Rosequist family is one that we have, we announced on this past Sunday that Eric's father passed away. Eric's father, Harry, who went by Dan for most people. He passed away this past week, and they're going to be having a viewing and kind of a celebration of life service this Friday in Warren. And so for anybody who'd like to be a part of that, you can just give the church a call. We'll give you that information, or you can see the obituary, and I think it's in the Warren paper. But if you'd like information about that, let us know, just to support the Rosequist family. We also are just needing to be praying for Steve and Christy Adams. Steve's sister passed away unexpectedly a couple weeks ago, and they're asking for prayers as well. They don't have any immediate plans yet for a funeral or viewing or anything, but when that comes out, we can communicate that with the church. But if we could be praying for the Rosequists and the Adams, they will both really, really greatly appreciate that. Just it's tough to see. It seems like we haven't had many funerals in the past maybe even 2 years, and it's tough to see two families go through some pretty unexpected losses. And so we could be praying for them. They would appreciate it. I want to end with a scripture passage. We have been working through the Gospel of Matthew, and not working through all the way. It's not really a intense Bible study, but just sort of sharing some of the more famous passages from this gospel. And the one I want to share for today is from Matthew chapter 14, starting in verse 24. And this is, again, one of the more famous interactions between Jesus and his disciples. And so Matthew 14, starting in verse 24. It says, "And the boat was already considerable distance from land, buffeted by the waves because the wind was against it." Verse 25, "Shortly before dawn, Jesus went out to them walking on the lake. When the disciples saw him walking on the lake, they were terrified. 'It's a ghost,' they said, and they cried out in fear. But Jesus immediately said to them, 'Take courage, it is I. Don't be afraid.' 'Lord, if it's you,' Peter replied, 'tell me to come to you out on the water.'" Peter is so bold. I love Peter. He's very, very funny and very bold to me. "Let me come out to you on the water." Verse 29, "Come," he said. Then Peter got down out of the boat and walked on the water and came toward Jesus. But when he saw the wind, he was afraid. Beginning to sink, he cried out, "Lord, save me!" Immediately, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. You of little faith, he said, why did you doubt? In these famous passages between these interactions with Jesus and his disciples, there is a lot going on and a lot to unpack and to study. But it's really funny. My whole life, when I've heard this passage, I've always heard it preached and taught as if Peter was just this utter failure. Like Peter blew it. He messed up. He lacked faith. Peter's the only one who got out of the boat. Catch that in the story? None of the other disciples even considered that. Peter's the only one with that boldness, with that I think came from a place of faith, that he got out of the boat and walked on water toward Jesus. I think that act in itself is this type of just righteous boldness that God gives us and gives the church when we're truly seeking him, that I think sometimes I lack and sometimes the church as a whole lacks. Just this boldness to live for Jesus, this boldness just unapologetically, even if it doesn't make sense to anybody else, to just run after Jesus and sprint after him, even if it's walking on water. Even if all the other disciples are like, Peter, you're crazy, what are you doing? I think it's really also cool in this story that Jesus just asking, yeah, this doesn't make sense. Yeah, this is risky. Yeah, this is scary. Can you still trust me? Can you still trust me? Trust that I'm going to have you. Trust that I'm going to protect you. Trust that whatever I call you to, whatever bold ministry, whatever bold conversation, or just maybe it's a work of just perseverance, sticking with something, can you trust that I'm going to be with you in it? And so I love this passage. It's a powerful one. Maybe someday I'll preach on this passage for more than just a midweek minute. But this Sunday, we are going to be continuing our series on the Apostles' Creed, talking about what do we believe. We're going to be talking about what it means to really believe in the forgiveness of sins. I believe in the forgiveness of sins. What does it mean to believe, truly believe, and live into that belief that we are a forgiven people? I'm excited to preach on that this Sunday. So hopefully you can join us for 8:30 service, for 10 o'clock service, or online at 10 o'clock, or in the parking lot at 10 o'clock, or later on YouTube during the week. We're trying to be as accessible as possible, and so hopefully you're able to join us. But that's it for this week. If you have any questions, concerns, you want information about memorial services for the couple families that we've been praying for, please reach out and ask, and hopefully we'll see you this Sunday, if not sooner. Have a great week.